Why are the skulls and fats happening? Because golf instruction has taught you to do it this way. And I'm going to try and hit behind this golf ball and you'll see it pop up in the sky. No digging when I use the bounce. This is taking away all that handle drag and all that dig. Once you've done this a fair few times, you'll be super confident and start to glide that golf club through the turf and never dig again. So let's get stuck in. Are you sick and tired of driving the ball right down the middle of the fairway? You then proceed to hit your second shot right up near the green, but you proceed to do this. You scull that simple chip shot straight across the green, or you end up fatting the golf ball 2 foot in front of you. If you'd like to learn how to make perfect contact around the greens, then stay tuned because what I'm going to show you is going to improve your contact around the greens immensely. So the first thing we need to understand is why are the skulls and fats happening? Now, would you believe me if I told you that this is happening because golf instruction has taught you to do it this way? Back in the day, everyone was taught to have the ball back in the stance, have their hands forward, and to hit down on the golf ball, trying to hit ball first. Now, the problem with this is by having the ball back and the hands forward, we are taking loft off the club, we are taking bounce away from the golf club, and that's what's causing you to dig that leading edge down into the ground and hitting it fat or thin. So what should you do? You should be trying to hit the back edge of the golf club. You're trying to hit the sole. You're trying to use the bounce. This way, you can hit the ground behind the golf ball and you can utilize whatever bounce is on your wedge. And that bounce can enter the ground and kick that club out of the ground rather than using the leading edge and having it get stuck in there. So what are some ways that you can learn to use the bounce more effectively? Well, believe it or not, I'm going to ask you to try something for me. I'm going to ask you to try and land the club on the ground as early as possible. I want you to have the ball position really, really far forward, that you almost hit this far behind the ball. Now, believe it or not, and I'm going to show you this, but you can actually still hit some very functional golf shots doing this, and believe me, the club does not dig into the ground. So we're now going to give this a go. I've got 3 golf balls in front of me, and for each golf ball, I'm going to place them even more forward in my stance than the last one. Now, this technique won't work if you're trying to put the ball back in your stance, hands forward, leaning forward, and trying to hit down on the golf ball, essentially trying to hit ball first. So for my first attempt, we're just going to go with a pretty traditional ball position of, say, center of the stance. And what I'm actually trying to do here is not hit ball first. I want to engage the bottom of the golf club, and I want to try and hit somewhere behind the golf ball, right about here. And what you're going to see is you're going to see that this ball will pop up, probably medium flight because there's going to be quite a lot of friction and spin, and it's going to, hopefully land pretty close to that hole. So let's give this a go first things first. I want to do some practice swings, ball position middle, and I want to try and just feel the back edge of the golf club brushing the ground. And I'm not trying to hit ball first, I'm actually trying to hit behind the golf ball. You can see there that my first point of impact is right there. So that's quite far behind the golf ball, even for the middle of the stance. So let's go ahead and hit this golf shot. Ball in the middle. I'm trying to land the club very, very early in the grass, and this will not dig. So you can see there that I was able to hit roughly about there on the ground when my golf ball was sitting right about there. And you could see there that that ball popped up nice and high. There was no dig, and I was able to get pretty good contact, even though I didn't hit ball first. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play the ball even further forward. So I'm going to put this golf ball off my left heel now. And what we're going to see here is I still, believe it or not, want to hit the ball or want to hit the ground in the same spot as I did before. So if I put my ball further forward, inside my left heel, take my setup, inside my left heel, that ball position is super far forward. And people would think, well, aren't you going to scull the ball? Aren't you going to fat the ball? No, because I'm trying to create a very long, what I call flat spot. So instead of ball back, hands forward, and driving that golf club in, you're essentially creating a V shape. So what we want to do here is we actually want to try and create a bit more of a U shape so that we get a long flat spot. So let's give this one a go. Again, I'm trying to hit the ball pretty much anywhere where this first alignment stick is right here, or even behind, and it will still work. Normal setup. I'm going to ground my club pretty much right in the middle where the ball used to be, and I'm going to try and hit behind this golf ball, and you'll see it pop up in the sky. No digging when I use the bounce. You can see there that that golf ball was pretty far forward, and I still hit the ground way back here. And what you're going to see is that ball pops straight up in the air then. So as you can see, this is taking away all that handle drag and all that dig that typically results in a fat shot or a thin shot. So in this final attempt, we're going to put the ball position even further forward to a point where you're actually getting a little bit scared. Can I actually hit this golf ball? And what we're going to find out is you absolutely can. So let's give this a go. We're going to leave the setup the same, but we're going to put the golf ball almost outside my left foot. Now this again seems super scary. Look how far my contact is going to be from the ball. And this is still going to work. Believe me, square stance. Let's see how we go. I want to basically strike the ground exactly where my wedge is right now. And as you can see there, that ball was way forward and I was still able to strike the ground right here. And as you can see there, that ball popped up pretty nicely for me. Yes, it was a drop kick, but again, I didn't duff it. I didn't thin it over the green. I was still able to hit a very functional golf shot with the feeling of trying to get the golf club to land a lot more near where my middle alignment stick is, yet the ball position was way up here. It is impossible to do it if you do something like this, where we try and dig the ground underneath the golf ball. Now I know what you might be thinking. What kind of wedge were you using? Was it high bounce or was it low bounce? I was using my 60 degree with 4 degrees of bounce. Now what I've actually done here is I've grabbed my 56 degree with 14 degrees of bounce, and I'm going to prove to you that this still works with high bounce wedges. So again, we're going to put that ball super far forward, and I'm going to try and hit the golf ball or hit the ground right about there with my high bounce wedge. So typically high bounce should hit the ground and bounce out. This will still work with a high bounce wedge. So even so, the strike wasn't perfect, but I still was able to get my golf ball to go exactly where I wanted to next to that flag. And again, you heard that right. That was super far behind the golf ball, but what you were still able to see was that golf ball still took off exactly how I wanted and without needing a perfect strike. Now, once you've done this a fair few times, you'll be super confident that you can just take your normal ball position. You might even want to start playing it a bit more forward and start to glide that golf club through the turf and never dig again. Now, if you're wondering whether or not you can do this when faced with rough lies around the green, then you need to watch this video that's on your screen right now. This is going to give you the answer that you're looking for and will provide you with the tools to play from greenside rough much more effectively.